Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the Glass Case of Emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Hey, where are we? What are we doing today? Oh, we're going to do Student of the Gun Radio. Hey, welcome. And today we're going to talk about constitutional carry. We're going to talk about Indiana. We're going to talk about Oregon. And we're going to talk about dry fire and why some trainers hate it. But we're also going to give you a little bit of a history lesson, too. So you want to pay close attention to today. Not that you wouldn't normally. But today is Thursday's show, and that means it's the last public broadcast of the week. And we'll be back next Monday to talk to you. But if you are a grad program member, we will be back tomorrow. Let me see if I have any grad program notes yet. Oh, California calls for help. Hypocrisy on display. Talk about that tomorrow. Liberalism is a mental disease and how we're trying to live in a consequence-free world. That's tomorrow. Oh, Mississippi is considering reinstituting a very old tradition when it comes to dealing with, convicted felons and murderers and people that are on death row. And a BLM terrorist group speaker has some advice for their followers here in the United States. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow on the grad program, in addition to giving you some motivational music and slave state music. We've got a Go team, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Jarrad, will you please tell the listening audience, those people out there, how they can become a member of the Student of the Gun grad program and what they can get, what the benefits are of being a grad program member?
Well, if you want to become a member of the grad program, and why wouldn't you? Because everybody that's in the grad program is pretty amazing. Then you can go to studentofthegunradio.com and you click on the button there, and it'll take you to a page that tells you everything that you get. Now, off the top of my head, I'm going to try this off the top of my head. All right, I know you get a free autographed book, The 5 Strategies That Could Save Your Life. That you just cover the shipping and handling to get it to your door. And you get that book autographed by Dad. And then you get 30 days free to the grad program content, which includes the bonus hour, and then you also get tactical tutor, and it's not just the one from the recent month. It's every grad program episode, every bonus hour ever produced, every tactical tutor ever written, and then you also get unlimited access to the complete Armed Citizen video series, which is a pretty cool little tool that you can use there to educate yourself. If you haven't seen the Armed Living DVD, then you also get unlimited access to Armed Living, Concealed Carry in an Uncertain World. And I believe that's somewhere around $70 of stuff for free. So that's like 4 months, 5 months worth of the grad program.
Yes. And all you have to do to get started is to go to studentofthegunradio.com, and there's an orange button, and it says...
Is it orange?
I'm pretty sure it's orange. It says it's an orangish color. It's kind of like a... I don't know if it's like an orange gold.
So what happens if I'm colorblind?
Maybe it's tangerine, but it says click here to get a free book, and you can start from there. So if you do that, get signed up, you'll get the free book, 5 Strategies That Could Save Your Life, tips from a professional bodyguard. We know a professional bodyguard who wrote that book for you guys, so. And that's the only way you can get that book, actually, is by being a member of the grad program. So I want to make sure that everybody out there knew and understood, because we still get that. People, despite how many times we've talked about this, we're like, what is this grad program thing, and what's that all about? So there you go. I see that we have the warning sound left over from last week. I don't think we have to play that, but...
Oh, that's left over?
Yeah. Oh. I don't think I'm going to hurt anyone's feelings today. We might need to put that in tomorrow's show, though. But let's talk about constitutional carry in Indiana. All right. So all right. I've got a source right here, and this is not exactly shocking, but it's from the 10th Amendment Center, and this was written on January 16th, 2017, so about a month or so ago. Indianapolis, Dateline Indianapolis, from the 10thamendmentcenter.com. A so-called constitutional carry bill filed in the Indiana House would make it legal for most Hoosiers to carry a firearm without a license and foster an environment hostile to federal gun control. Representative Jim Lucas, Republican, and 3 co-sponsors introduced the House Bill 1159 on January 9th. The legislation would repeal the law requiring a person to obtain a license to carry a handgun in Indiana. If passed, any person otherwise legally authorized to carry a handgun could carry concealed without a permit. So basically it says as long as you are not prohibited from going into a store and purchasing a gun, you can carry one. Imagine that. The law would still allow Indiana residents to obtain a license so they can carry in states that have concealed carry reciprocity with the state. That would be your firearms passport. Licensing constitutional rights should not be used to acquire revenue, said Lucas in a statement posted on Facebook. And that's the big reason why a lot of these states don't want to go, because they like the money. Never forget that. Governments and bureaucracies like your money. And when a bill is proposed that is going to cut out some of the money that they're used to getting, they don't like that. And quite often the people who are the recipients of the money get angry, and they don't want that money to go away. They're like, no, we're charging people, to exercise their constitutional rights, and we think that's a good process, and we want to keep on doing it. And this actually, when you talk about constitutional carry and you talk about a reciprocity agreement, and you're like right now, for instance, I am recording this in the state of Mississippi. Mississippi is a constitutional carry state. I do not require a little card with my picture on it from the state that says Paul can carry a gun in the state. I can carry it in my house, I can carry it in my car, in an RV, in a boat, in wherever I can legally occupy, I can do that, right? Don't have to have a special thing. But if I want to travel next door to Texas or to Louisiana or to Alabama or to go up to Tennessee or whatever, and I want to be good, there, then I should get a firearms passport. That's what people, I thought that was really obvious, but that's lost on some. Have you noticed that, Jarrad, that kind of play on words is lost on some people?
Yeah, I guess so. I've never really.
We actually had people say, I Googled or I looked up firearms passport and I couldn't find anything on that.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we get one of those?
Yeah, it's called a concealed carry. So, but that is the ultimate freedom. So you say, well, let's say that you don't travel, and if you do travel only a small amount and you're not concerned at all about carrying a gun in a neighboring state, then don't do it. See, that is the great thing about the constitutional carry system and the fact that they still allow you to get, they're like, well, we're just going to keep a permit system in place for those who want to enjoy reciprocity. Because right now, Jarrad and I, with our Mississippi permits, we can carry, I think it's 25, it might be up to 27 states recognize Mississippi now. I know it's every single state that borders us, and you can go basically from Florida all the way over till you get to the border of California, till you get to the California state line. You have to stop right there. But everywhere else, we're good. That's freedom. That gives you the choice. They're not forcing you. Now you say, well, what's the big deal, Paul? I mean, I think constitutional carry is on its way. Now, not everybody likes constitutional carry, and not everybody appreciates it. And what did we say? Some of those people who benefit from the money, for instance, when you go to get a concealed carry permit, depending on where you are, it can cost you anywhere from $40 to $50, some places hundreds of dollars to get your permit, right? So if you are involved in that whole charging people deal, you may not like it. You might be thinking, we're getting $137 per person to sell these, to to sell these rights cards, to sell these constitutional right cards. We think that's a good idea, and we don't want it to stop. And, that is the way many people feel. Well, we've got what's funny is the reason that I knew this was being disputed in Indiana by some sheriffs up there was because one of our friends on Facebook shared an official Facebook comment from Sheriff Matt Myers of Indiana. And it says, after much discussion and debate, the ISA, that would be the Indiana Sheriff's Association leadership, in conjunction with the leadership from the Indiana Association of Chiefs of Police, let me tell you what, in my experience as a person who's been a police officer and a person who has been a constitutionalist and been paying attention for 30 plus years to politics and what have you, the IACP is a political organization with very close ties to the Democrat Party and very scary socialist tendencies and leanings. I'll say that. But the IACP generally comes out against not only constitutional carry, but the IACP has fought unrestricted shall issue pretty much everywhere it's ever been opposed. The IACP has fought against that. In my history, or at least in my life as I've paid attention, the IACP has never been a friend of the Second Amendment or of the people and has always been a friend of politicians. So take that for what you will. Anyway, the thing goes on. So they shared this Facebook post with us from this sheriff on behalf of the Indiana Sheriff's Association. Well, apparently they got so much pushback that they just decided to pull it. They decided to pull the Facebook post, and if you go to the link that we had originally, it's gone. But, Jarrad, what is magic about the internet? You can screenshot things.
Yeah. Do you have a screenshot?
Mm-hmm. You can screenshot things. And once you've screenshotted them, they're there. Here we go.
Where is it?
It's posted on Student of the Gun's Facebook page.
Did you
over in the comments?
Can you do a link?
Oh, it's a visitor post. I'll try. I will try right now to do that for you as we are discussing this. Yeah, I find it funny that people apparently they were defending this and they're like, no, you guys are wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. And but they got so much pushback that they just said, okay, we're going to stop. But this is the official statement from the Indiana Sheriff's Association, okay, in conjunction with the IACP. And they also says the Indiana State Police Alliance and several FOP organizations feel that it's necessary to provide a position statement, okay, on the impact of the Right to Carry Bill 1159. The overall consensus is that the bill will have a negative impact on officer safety and on public safety, and that we need to stand united in our position. Okay? So, this is what's going on up in Indiana right now, and this statement was put out on February 9th by Sheriff Matt, let me get this right, Sheriff Matt Myers on behalf of the Indiana Sheriff's Association, the IACP, and the ISPA, and he says several FOP organizations. So it is their consensus that a bill allowing you in the state of Indiana to have constitutional carry means as long as you're legally not prohibited from owning a gun that you can carry one concealed on you. Their consensus is that would have a negative impact on officer safety and on public safety, and that we need to stand united. And he goes on there, and here's the big but, Jarrad. So the Second Amendment of the United States guarantees a citizen the right to keep and bear arms. The sheriffs of Indiana strongly support a citizen's Second Amendment. Blah blah blah. All right, we strongly support the Second Amendment. Blah 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 blah. But The Indiana sheriffs do not believe that a change in the permitting process in Indiana is in the best interest of public or officer safety. So, what they're saying here is, we believe in the Constitution, and we believe in the Second Amendment, and we believe in the right to keep and bear arms. But we still think that the peasants, need to get a permission slip from the state to exercise the constitutional right that we just said we supported. Because why? What is their excuse? What is their reason? Safety. How do liberal minds work? Well, you can have your constitutional rights, and you can have the Bill of Rights and all that, but the Bill of Rights is no longer valid if we throw out the word safety or security. So if in the interest of national security, you no longer have Fourth Amendment rights to privacy. In the interest of national security, you no longer have First Amendment rights. In the interest of national security, you no longer have Second Amendment or Fifth Amendment rights, because security, or in this case, safety. It's the double S. The double S. The SS. Seems to me there was an organization that went by that by the double S name. Was that a good organization, Jarrad?
I don't.
Did that organization foster freedom and liberty and independence?
Definitely not. And this was posted by Sheriff Matt Myers, but it's signed by Mark J. Bowen, and sheriff at the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. 18100 Cumberland Road, Noblesville, Indiana. So,
according to this, it says basically all the cop leaders in Indiana believe that here we go. They fear this change would create uncertainty in reciprocity situations. I don't understand how that works, and will have a negative impact on law enforcement training. What? Oh, and it says the change could negatively impact efforts to investigate individuals and determine whether or not they are armed or not. What? That's such horse crap. This reminds me of the nonsense that went on in my former state of Ohio. We had a wishy-washy Republican governor in Ohio when I was up there about 10, 15 years ago or so. And the wishy-washy Charlie Brown governor, who had an R behind his name but was more of a fiscal Republican conservative than he was a traditional one. He said that he would not sign a concealed carry bill, a shall issue bill, unless all the police associations approved it. So basically, he put it onto them. Instead of being courageous, he decided to be a politician and say, well, I'm not going to support that unless the police support it. Like, well, what is your opinion? Do you know what the Constitution says? Do you know about individual liberty and unalienable rights? No, I'm going to wait and see what the policemen say. So you're going to wait to see what the employees of the state have to say about the rights of the citizens of the state. Jarrad, is that crazy? Am I crazy here?
Yes.
So what the people are going to allow their employees, they're going to wait to get the opinion of their employees. You guys up in Indiana understand that, right? All these people that are being paid by your tax dollars, they are your employees. They are not your slave masters. They are not your bosses. They're your employees. They work for you. And so this entire statement the whole thing up in Ohio is the commandant of the Ohio State Highway Patrol was hardcore against the shall issue concealed carry permit bill up there, because he said if that bill is passed, then his officers, his troopers, would have to deal with armed people on traffic stops. Because apparently, up until the passage of shall issue concealed carry, no Ohio State trooper had ever pulled over a car where the occupants had guns. Yeah, it's that kind of insanity. So here we are in Indiana, and what we have is the employees of the people have decided to issue a statement basically that says the peasants are stupid. The peasants don't understand what rights are. We support the Second Amendment, but not really, because in the interest of safety, we need to make sure that the Second Amendment is doled out just a little bit at a time, and that there is a government permission slip system that we need to follow. Yeah. So, you guys, if you're up there in the Northeast, or I'm sorry, the Midwest, not the Northeast, the Midwest, keep an eye on that. We'll see what happens up there in Indiana. I need to take a drink of my water here. I've been talking.
So this Michael Strickland case, I was looking into it because I got some reports. We obviously have people up there,
right?
And I was finding a lot of not factual information.
Contradiction?
Yep, contradiction to the actual truth, and I don't even know what the actual truth is, so I'm actually really looking forward to getting into this.
Okay. But before we do that, let's thank our friends at Brownells. Because why? Well, because Brownells has lots of stuff that you can use. You can feed your guns, you can scope your guns, you can sight your guns, you can pretty much everything, or you can buy guns. And now is a great time for you to go to brownells.com. And if you're looking to, if it's still cold where you are and you're still spending most of your time indoors, now is a great time to actually build a gun. And you can do that because you're an American. Go to brownells.com. And while you're there, you can pick up some Frog Lube, and it's green, it's minty fresh. It's a bio-based firearms lubricant. Now, if you're going to buy Frog Lube lubricant, that's a lot of lubes right there. But if you're going to buy Frog Lube, if you're going to buy their CLP, you want to go ahead and pick up a little bit of their solvent, too, so that you can actually clean the gun first. And here's a good idea. If you get a brand new gun from the factory, it's probably going to have something on it. It probably won't have REM oil on it. It might have some kind of grease on it, or I don't know. You know, every manufacturer is different, depending on where it came from. If it came from overseas, if it came from the United States, it's going to have different stuff on it. A great way to prep your gun is just, you get it out of the box, disassemble it, read the instructions. Read the instructions, disassemble the gun for cleaning. And I'm not talking about taking a roll pin and punching stuff out. Just take it down for cleaning. Take your solvent, squirt it down. Take your Frog Lube solvent, squirt it down, get off all the existing whatever, wipe it dry, then put your Frog Lube on it, reassemble it, and drive on. There you go. All right, Century Arms is the sweetest smelling arms maker in the U.S. of A., and they are the makers of the C39 V2, the V2 rifle, and very soon you'll be able to get your hands on the V2 pistol if you haven't already. So check that out. And also, of course, the TP9 series, the SA, the SF, the SF Elite, and coming very soon, the SFT, which stands for threaded barrel. So pay close attention to that. Duracoat, because life is too short to have an ugly gun. It just really is. You can get Duracoat products from Brownells, or you can go to Lauer Weaponry and order yourself some slightly darker black. It's a good month. It's February. It's a good month to go ahead and order some slightly darker black and add that to your collection. And lastly, in our hit parade is SWAT Fuel. If you'd like to have a stronger mind and a sharper body, or a sharper body and a stronger mind, or whatever you want to do, you can go to SWATfuelstore.com. And while you're there, I want you to save some money. So use the promo code SOTG2015. And let me tell you what, the 44 mag protein powder, the high grass-fed, probably the best protein powder you're ever going to get. You know what it does not do, Jarrad?
What?
It doesn't give you the farts.
Yep, or the burps.
It doesn't give you the burps, and it doesn't give you the farts. How many of you guys and gals, have ever been around a weightlifter, a bodybuilder, and they have the noxious, horrible, nasty farts? They have the protein farts, right? I know that some of you are like, Paul, you're just gross. I know you just. Ugh. But let's face it, that's a reality, is it not? You've been around those guys.
I've got some sound effects if you'd like.
And no, we don't need that. But you've been around those guys. And why is that? Why do they have this gastrointestinal distress? I'll tell you why. Because they either went to Walmart or the local discount store and they bought those giant tubs of protein powder for $22, and it's garbage. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say that, Jarrad?
Yes.
Yeah. It's junk. That's why their farts stink. That's why they get it. That's why you get intestinal distress. That's why you get the burps and the farts and all that. If you purchase quality stuff, it doesn't happen. So there you go. Go to SWATfuelstore.com. All right, let me take a sip of water, and I'm going to dive into this Michael Strickland thing. We've got a story, and the story source is KOIN, like coin, coin.com. And this is Dateline, February 12th, 2017. Title of the story is, Man Who Pulled Gun on Crowd Found Guilty. Sentencing for Michael Strickland will be held in May of 2017. So you might be thinking, I live not anywhere near Oregon, and I don't know what this guy's talking about. Okay. Dateline, Portland, Oregon, KOIN. A judge has convicted the man who pulled a gun on a crowd of people during a Black Lives Matter rally outside the Multnomah County Justice Center. The crowd was never threatening Michael Strickland, police and prosecutors have maintained. Many of the people in the crowd had their hands raised when Strickland pulled his gun, fled the area in panic. Okay. Many of the people in the crowd had their hands raised, comma, and when Strickland pulled his gun, comma, fled the area in panic. Police were quick to arrive and take Strickland into custody. During his week-long trial, Strickland's defense was that as an independent journalist, he was covering the event and felt threatened when the crowd approached him. He also maintained that carrying his gun was legal because he had a concealed carry permit. Okay. Strickland had originally opted for a jury trial, but following jury selection requested a bench trial. Multnomah County Circuit Judge Thomas Ryan found Strickland guilty on 10 counts of unlawful use of a weapon and 10 counts of menacing and 1 count of second-degree disorderly conduct. Although no rounds were fired during the incident involving Strickland, police determined that he had an excess of 120 rounds.
That he had access
to more than 120 rounds that were in magazines in his pockets. Sentencing will be in May. All right, so let's go ahead, and some of you have watched the video, some of you haven't. Here's the deal. Depending on where you get it, the video may be edited. There's pictures, like they pulled a still from there, and it looks like, you can see him pulling up his shirt and pulling his gun out, or maybe he was putting it away or whatever. You can't really take stuff too seriously from these pictures. Michael Strickland holds a gun in Portland, Oregon during a rally to protest the deaths of 2 black men shot by Minnesota and Louisiana. So we're in Portland, Oregon, and the domestic terrorist organization known as Black Lives Matter had staged a rally outside the Justice Center to protest people who were shot in Minnesota and Louisiana all the way on the other side of the country. But what do we know about the domestic terrorist organization known as BLM, or Black Lives Matter? They are professional agitators, and it's any excuse to riot. I mean, they're not going to work tomorrow. How many people at the Portland, Oregon BLM rally you think had to call in sick to work, Jarrad? That's right, none. Okay. So what is the takeaway from this? So what did we talk about last week, Jarrad? We talk about when was it? No, it wasn't last week. Was it Monday? Yeah, it was. I'm sorry, it was the Monday Warrior of the Week question.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap!
Yeah, it's only been a couple of days ago.
Yeah, wow. It seems like so long.
I know, but we talked about getting on a jury. So something that I was taught, or kind of an axiom or a good piece of advice, way back when I was going through the police academy and we were learning about constitutional law and about bench trials and about jury trials and so on and so forth, is that if the facts of the case are with you, if the law is with you, generally it's better to have a bench trial and have a professional jurist, a professional judge who understands the law on your side. And if the law and the facts of the law are against you, it's better to have a jury trial. Now, I'm going to ask you something. Why do you suppose that Mr. Strickland and his defense team decided to not have a jury trial? Good question, Paul. That is a good question. Who do you suppose was in the jury pool of Michael Strickland's trial? Why do you believe, or why do you think that his defense team, and he felt that he could not win based upon that jury pool? Well, I can tell you from, my own personal standpoint here, or the way I see it, all of you folks out there, you folks that are living in slave states, you're living in California or Massachusetts or New Jersey, or, you're out in Portland or Seattle, and you're telling me, you're writing me Facebook posts and you're making comments on videos and stuff and about how you need to lay off the California gun owners and you need to lay off the blah, 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 and you don't understand. We're behind the enemy lines and we're fighting the good fight. And, you just want us to run away. You just want us to leave California. And that's not the answer. The answer is for us to stay here and fight. Okay, cool. Rock on. Do whatever you want. I don't care. But I'm going to ask you this. All of you proud California gun owners, all of you proud New Jersey sportsmen, all of you proud Portland, Seattle people who are behind enemy lines, fighting the good fight for the Second Amendment and so forth. When you get arrested, you get charged, who's arresting you? Well, the police arrest me. Okay, who's charging you? A politician, the district attorney who was elected. Who was the district attorney elected by? Who was the district attorney in Portland elected by? Do you think he was elected by constitutionalists and Second Amendment supporters? The district attorney in Seattle, you think that guy was elected, or girl, or whatever it happens to be, Z? You think that person was elected by proud constitutional conservative Republicans? Do you, baby? Do you? You get arrested in San Diego or San Francisco or L.A. or Sacramento or whatever, and the prosecuting attorney, they get your case, comes across their desk, they're like, oh, look at one of these gun guys. Who do you think elected the district attorney in Sacramento, San Francisco? You think that person is a proud constitutional conservative? No. That's your answer. Your answer is no. The district attorney that gets a hold of you, you get busted like this guy did, they ain't going to be your friend, buddy. No. They're going to be looking to crucify you. So they're gonna charge you with everything they can possibly charge you with. You say, that's okay, Paul. Anybody can be charged. That doesn't mean you're going to be convicted. Nope, you're absolutely right. It doesn't mean you're going to be convicted. So now you find yourself in Portland, Oregon, which is just swimming with insanity and socialism. And there's a jury pool. Because they pull the jury from wherever the offense happened. They don't go to your hometown. They don't go back to where you were born and pull the jury. No. You get arrested in Seattle, Portland. You get arrested in New Jersey, Massachusetts, whatever, New York City. They're going to pull the jury from people who live around there. Who do you think's going to be on your jury pool in Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington? You think those are going to be proud Second Amendment supporters? Think those people are going to be constitutional conservatives? Who's going to be on that jury pool? You say, ooh, yeah. Those people are probably going to be like psychotic socialists who hate guns and think that only the government should have guns. Those are going to be the people that use words like reasonable gun control and assault weapons and yeah. Those are people who are going to be on your jury, Sparky. And you say, okay, well, yeah, you're probably right about that. And I probably don't want to put my fate in the hands of 12 socialist lunatics. So I'll put my fate in the hands of a professional judge. Just like the DA, who do you think becomes judges in these lunatic left-wing socialist states? Are you familiar with the Ninth Circuit Court and any of their behavior? Who do you think becomes judges in major metropolitan areas that are run by Democrats? Places like Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, New York City, anywhere in New Jersey. Who do you think gets on the bench up there? You think it's hardcore constitutional conservatives that support the Bill of Rights and individual liberty? Or do you think it's judges that decide that they're going to legislate from the bench because the people of America are just too stupid to know what's right? And they don't really understand that the Founding Fathers didn't mean for you to have all this individual liberty. The Founding Fathers meant that these rights were really more privileges that are to be handed out by the state. Jarrad, do you know who Nathan Hale was?
I just read a little bit about it, but I did not know before that.
All of you guys out there, Nathan Hale stayed behind enemy lines, and Nathan Hale was captured by the British. Nathan Hale was famous for being the first spy, the first intelligence gathering officer from George Washington, who stayed behind in New York City to gather information about the British Army. And he was captured, and he was hung. He was subsequently executed by the British. And so what I'm going to remind you guys of, all of you guys that feel like you're the Nathan Hales, like you're staying behind, and I live in, well, I know, Paul, it's easy for you to say, but it's really pretty here in California. Or I've got a good job in Portland or Seattle or whatever, so I just can't leave. Okay, but let me tell you what, brother. If you ever get into a pickle, and this dude didn't even press a trigger. They're talking about sending him to prison for years for not even pressing a trigger, for menacing, right? We've got Black Lives Matter terrorist organizations marching down the streets of New York screaming, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them? Now. On Friday, we're going to talk about a Black Lives speaker who called for the death of all white people. And you might think, well, that person's in prison now, right? They're in jail and they're waiting their bond hearing, and no, because it doesn't apply to them. It only applies to you. And if you get hooked up, you're one of these hardcore, I'm living behind enemy lines and I'm fighting the good fight. You get hooked up, brother, and they're going to sacrifice you. Okay, they're going to make this whole thing with Strickland, you think that it's personal? No, they're making an example of Michael Strickland. He's being made an example of. All of you peasants out there who think that it's okay for you to carry guns, I don't care if the state gave you a permission slip. We don't care about that. This is Portland. This is Seattle. Okay? We don't really care that the state said it was okay. We think it's wrong, regardless. And if we ever catch you, we're going to crucify you. We're going to make an example of you so that all the other peasants will look and see, I better not do that. I better just stay home, leave my gun locked up where it's supposed to be, because I don't want to end up like that guy. So there you go. That's all I have to say about that.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? And where you gonna roll when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, cause it's about ready to hit the fan. Come to the ready. 2012 not about the re-election of an antichrist. Come to the ready.
All right, we're coming to the ready right here. And today we're going to talk about dry fire training and why some trainers hate it. Now, I just put together an article about dry fire training and why do professional firearms trainers hate dry fire? And one of the reasons is this. I was recently made aware of, somebody sent me a link and they said, hey, there's this new dry fire training kit that's based around a laser, right? And you shoot it into your iPad or whatever, and it records the laser hits and so forth. And what do you think about that? And I said, well, yeah, obviously using a laser for dry fire training is way better than just not. I mean, it's more fun, right? More enjoyable. It gives you some kind of a result. But I watched the ad, the 90-second Facebook ad or 2-minute little YouTube video that they cut for this product. And I'm sure the product is fine. It probably works as advertised. But the sales pitch that they used to sell the product is, one of the taglines was, stop wasting money on expensive ammunition and range fees. So instead of encouraging you to use a dry fire, their dry fire kit to enhance the skill that you've already gotten from your training and your live fire practice, what they're saying is, what they're recommending to the masses, to the new gun owners of America, is you don't need to waste your money and your time on live fire training. Just do it in your basement. And that is what's, I think, a lot of trainers, what they don't like about it is that there's this idea being floated around that you don't need to go to the range and it's all dirty and, you get your gun dirty and then you have to clean it and, you don't even need to bother with that. Just go in your basement and dry fire and buy this kit from us for $79.95 or whatever it is. And you'll never have to go to the range again. And that's the problem is, what are you dry firing? Well, I'm dry firing this, but like, has anyone ever watched you or, kind of helped you with your grip and your trigger press and all that? Well, no, I don't need to. I'm just dry firing.
Well, what do I need that for? I know how to pull the trigger.
Yeah, that's right. I know how to pull a trigger. And that's where the train leaves the tracks, is when someone tells you you don't need training, you don't need live fire practice, all you need is this laser thing, and you're good to go, right? And instead of using the laser dry fire kit to enhance your skill, they use it as a substitution. And ladies and gentlemen, don't do that. Don't shortchange yourself. You're better than that. You're worth more than that. Get some training from a professional. Learn how to practice. That's what training is supposed to be for. You're supposed to go to training to learn how and what you need to practice later on so that you can, bank that improvement. So when it comes to dry fire training, one of the reasons that trainers don't like it is because there's a movement afoot to convince people that they don't need any kind of education or training, that they can just dry fire and they're going to somehow become excellent shooters just based on that alone. So, we're going to put out an article that has a lot more detail, but that's the upshot of it. So pay attention to studentofthegun.com. If you're not signed up for it right now, sign up for the newsletter because it costs you nothing, and you're going to get all these articles and videos and things that we're putting out. So, all right, kids, that's it for this week. That's it for the public broadcast hour for Student of the Gun Radio. We will be back on Monday with another public show. But for all of our grad program members, tomorrow we have we always have fun on Friday, don't we, Jarrad?
Yes, and I hope to see you there or hear you there.
We hope that you will join us tomorrow.
Yes.
Until then, remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.